Welcome back, fans and friends. For this upcoming video, I have a craft. As you can see up there, top left is a Star Wars ship. It is a V-19 Torrent starfighter, so obviously I won't be doing this one. This is the titanium series of the starfighter. Entered in right at the beginning of the Clone Wars, and then it would later be succeeded by a bunch of other craft that partially replaced it, entirely replaced it, did their best to replace it. And so I believe this is a Slain and Corporal product. Those who are familiar, they also built the Y-Wing. Sorry, Cuisner built the Y-Wing. A bunch of other companies, they built a bunch of other starfighters. So this was introduced to complement, obviously, the Jedi Starfighter, the 8 Delta 7 I've covered previously. Was for a very specific market, is not a universal standard because it is both hard to control, very expensive, and very small, and has absolutely no way to deal with anything other than starfighters. So this thing here obviously doesn't have a bunch of things. It doesn't have shield, doesn't have a hyperdrive, although later on models would be fitted. And so it eventually led in to a very, not really descendant, but this tragedy, swarms of them. Anyway, so the V-19, as we can see here, it comes with a clone pilot. It is number 173. And obviously there you see the V-19 Torrent starfighter. You can tell I'm not lying about it. And you have everything there. They're just showing you how he goes in there. Glass open cockpit. And as you can see, I did not receive this one in pristine condition, which helps me with that mild, I don't know what to call it, I have a deference to opening things like that. Anyway, that's another one I'm looking for. This one I ordered. It's on the way. If I ever do see these in the store, I will buy it for sure. I'm a fan of the craft. It's obviously that is the direct predecessor to the X-Wing in Command Sub Pro. And then obviously it combines with features of the ARC 170 to become what eventually the Rebel Alliance came to rely on. V-19, however, while durable, it is not shielded, so therefore it cannot do certain things like last long combat. It is obviously, it is introduced, you can see there, the Clone Wars. However, it is also, I think, in the Tartakovsky Clone Wars during the Battle of Coruscant. I think you do see them. And in the first half of it, you do see them over Geonosis, I think. I'm pretty sure you do. So it is just, I don't want to say Disney taking over, but I do believe I'll have to watch it again. Thankfully, it's not a long watch. The Tartakovsky things, I think each episode is like 4 minutes. So if you can't live through that, then perhaps. Anyway, I will continue on with the video. Try not to get distracted. There's not as many sirens now that the World Cup is pretty much gone. We're just back to the regular sirens, the regular crap that people are doing. And so we have there. So theoretically, early in the Clone Wars, the yellow was also the color for the clone troopers on the ground of a lieutenant. So I am quite sure, I'm not specific though, in major air forces today, offers a commissioned officership usually is a requirement to flying a military aircraft. I'm not sure though. I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not 100% sure. My understanding. So unlike its successors, the Ada 2, and to a certain degree the ARC 170, this thing does not have proton torpedoes. It is not shielded. It does have missiles though. Unfortunately, unlike the ARC 170, it does not come with any. So you can't not the ARC 170, the TIE Reaper for some unknown reason comes with it but never uses it. These things use it but don't come with it. So as you can see, what I've done there is I've creaked it for the first time. I do believe you can see there the little indent notches for locking the wings in that parked position. So if anybody's familiar with carrier doctrine, certain aircraft in World War II, it's more commonly associated with the US, but also eventually the UK. with folding wings, and this is made to make it so much smaller, so therefore it can be parked in a smaller area. Let's just say the landing footprint. What does that mean? It means that on the carrier deck, sorry, in the hangar, you can only park in so many craft of all shape sizes before the hangar is full. And so therefore, in reality, you'd only be able to hold 30 or 40. However, once you introduce folding wings, that basically goes not really out the window, but you reduce the amount of area the craft requires. So what I'm doing now, why I took the plastic, is because this craft doesn't come with the stand. So those of us familiar with the TIE fighters, they come with the stands. ARC 170 did not, the Reaper did not, obviously because they have these folding out legs. So I have just taken them out because they are, once you see this tab and how it goes in there, it's insanely difficult for me to pull it out of without any fingernails. Anyway, so I guess what we'll do is we'll start with the parked position. So obviously it only requires 2 to pull out, because as you can see here, the main supporting rod for this fin here simply serves as the bottom. It's not probably perfectly balanced, but I'm confident that it will sit on the floor without it. Anyway, similar to that, as you can see here, this thing, I don't believe it has the legs. Oh, sorry, it does. It does actually. And they're a little bit different. I never covered this in a video because I bought it used. Therefore, it was open. I happened to get it in very good condition. So as we can see here, there are some differentials. You can just see there, the legs. I don't know if these ones come out. I'm pretty sure they don't. Yeah, it's just molding. So as you can see there, that's the landing legs. They would come out when the craft touches down, and you can just see there. 2008. It's not a GTI we're thinking of. It's the French version of Lucasfilm Limited. And as you can see there, it is simply screwed in, and it has, like everything else looks pretty similar. The quality on this thing is amazing. But there is obviously no pilot, doesn't come with an opening cockpit, and obviously it's landing gear there, and I believe where the screw is, it retracts out, but otherwise, other than that, it comes with this base. And as you can see, it is tiny. So in terms of what you're getting, 2.5 times the price. However, it's also 2.5 times the scale. Anyway, you can see there, pretty much similar. Opaque cockpits, everything else looks okay. And ironically, the details on this one are just a little bit better, I think. You get that heavily used early war feel to this thing. Like you have burn marks, scorch marks, skid marks, everything. And even the impellers, you can just see there. While this thing simply has the, let's just say the discount version of it. ARC 170 also suffers from this. However, I refuse to open my titanium ARC 170. So, what we get with the craft, obviously just the clone pilot. There is no base for it. And this is the flying configuration. So this engine here is facing backwards, and then once it goes into flight mode, it's rather unusual sort of deal here, because one would think to make this thing less complicated, and the fact that the pilot really can't see over his head, I don't know what kind of difference that would make if this was like the norm. However, it is not, so I'm just saying this actually doesn't look too bad. But anyway, it is not the flying mode. The flying mode is here. And as you can see there, there's a positive click. You have a little tab inside there, you can see, and a little indent there. And it locks in place, so you can pretty much do it like this. Unfortunately, it's impossible to leave it anywhere like this, because even the titanium series, it doesn't come with some sort of a clasp to just make it stand on your desk. You'd probably have to cut that up and then mold it into a holder and then put that in that way. And other than that, like, we have the details are otherwise not terrible on this. They're just not like the other one. It looks factory fresh. Oh wait, no it doesn't. It looks like it's slightly used. Republic Rondelle right on the side there. Republic red. And then yellow, I do believe, is flight leader or lieutenant, I would think. And as you can see, it functions perfectly well with the landing gear out It does not fold inwards enough to interfere with that, so we can just leave it out. I don't want to fold it back in. That's profile from the front, profile from the side. So its main weapons. It has a missile launcher somewhere. I am unsure of as to specifically where it is. You see them firing it in the Clone Wars series, but you just see it come out from underneath. So it's somewhere here. And then the other two, obviously the primary weapons are here on the wingtips, are the laser cannons. Obviously tiny in comparison to the ARC 170, but big in comparison with the size of the craft. And also large if you think about it. Look how big this guy is, right? This is tiny compared to like the requirements today for a space-going craft, so that's not too bad. Anyway, like I said, forward profile, hard to hit, no shields. Side profile, probably a little bit easier, like it does afford you a much bigger target profile window. You have in the back there a lot of empty space. The vanes, I remember, I think they're for not shielding, obviously doesn't have any. Steering maybe, the atmosphere. None of this craft, I do believe, despite this, I'm unsure as to the technical aspect if this is a thrust vector in craft. Doesn't appear to me to be one. And then obviously you could just see there, it can lock in place like this, although it never functions like this. It's all in or all out, and you can just hear that the locking not very firm despite it being new. So there we have most of the requirements. Opens forward. Trying to think if any of these craft had a sliding canopy. But anyway, you can just see there the sort of similar to what we see in the Alpha series, Delta series. The Eta 2 has this very similar, the oval with the various inputs for the display. Control stick, I don't quite see one. That little thing there is where the guy's legs sit to hold him in place. So, let's see, what else can we cover? We have done the craft, a little bit of the history. It's a craft I like. It's not too common and not too popular. Like I said, it was replaced later on by the Eta 2 as the light interceptor, and then the ARC 170 for missiles. And this thing never did any sort of reconnaissance, would have been released in swarms. It has, like I said, missiles somewhere. Which makes it automatically good for busting capital ships, other swarms of fighters, stuff like that. However, it has no shield, so if it gets hit a few times, that's it. Although, to be fair, even the X-Wings from the original series take 2 or 3 hits, and that's pretty much it. Only Wedge, I think, takes one and lives to see the next day. But there we have it, friends and friends, the V-19 Torrent, not to be confused with the V-Wing. The V-Wing is actually in this series I showed. It was the one on the left. I'm still looking for that one. If I ever see it, I will buy it. The Z95 as well. I am a fan of this Republic transition era. I'm fully on board with even repaints. So I have a bunch of M2s, a bunch of Hot Wheels coming up. They are all repaints. So if anybody complains that too many movie sequels, wait until you get into the nonsense of hobbying, where you're collecting stuff like this, where you'll have one like this, and then the next one's yellow. Or for example, the the Delta series, the Jedi Starfighters, you have Saucy Tin, you have Ki-Adi-Mundi, you have Plo Koon, Obi-Wan, Anakin's modified. It's just a bunch of them. So it's nothing new. It's simply a matter of what can we release super fast, get it out into the market, will people buy it up, and if you don't, you just repaint it into someone else's and see if they buy that. Anyway, I'm not here to rant on the hobby. You do what you like what you do. Just makes it easier. But fans and friends, this is Jazzwares number 173, the V-19 Torrent, plus the little titanium one in the back there. Thomas from Toronto, thanks for watching, and to the next one.